Hey, everybody. Let's go ahead and ask your questions. You can unmute yourself or type in.
And go ahead, Linda, then Kathy.
Hey, Linda.
Hey, hi there.
Hey.
Um, my question tonight
Mhm.
has to do with where we put our awareness when we're doing certain things. So
Sure.
for example, we're doing this practice now where we put our awareness on the heart center and then
Mhm.
we inch our way inwards, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when I'm putting my awareness on the heart, I keep bouncing back and forth between I'm on the inside of the body looking out into the heart center
Mhm.
versus I'm on the outside of the body watching and looking in to the body. And I just and to be honest, the practice kind of confuses me because I don't really know. I
Sure.
don't
No, I get that.
yeah, so if
Yeah,
you don't
especially,
on
because
that,
there's other practices and stuff where they do different things, you know what I mean?
right.
And so, first off, how's your experience when you do that practice?
Well, okay, so I so often just in my daily life and in other the things, that I lead, we move our awareness to the heart center. And
Mhm.
so you feel this sense of expansion when you put the awareness on the heart. And there's a sensation all around, like not just on the front, right?
Mhm.
So as I do that, and then I allow awareness to move, I'm imagining it's like moving it closer into the spine. And then it's like the heart, it's like there's just no edges to the heart. There's just it's expansiveness.
Mhm.
But I haven't been able to have any sort of an experience of uh like when we do the blue pearl meditation, right? We're
Mhm.
moving into the blue pearl area, and then there's a moment where you have like this sensation that's I don't know how to
Sure.
describe it, but that something
Yeah.
happens, right?
Right.
And it's kind of a sensation inside your head, but not inside your head.
Right.
And I've been wondering if that's what we're kind of doing with the heart and the heart seed, but I haven't yet actually had that sort of a sensation.
Right. Like so the heart and the heart seed or the physical permanent seed, however you want to say it, it's a little bit of a tougher one. For one, you don't have the markers like you do for the pineal gland and the mental permanent seed up in the head.
Right.
There you can go here, 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 where they cross, that's where you
Right.
explore, and so the thing with the heart is you are going, there's times where you do like what you said, like all the things kind of do something. You put it outside of the body on the chakra, it makes the chakra pump more. As you go into the body, it's still making the chakra pump more, but you're starting to physicalize some of those effects. When you're looking for the heart seed, you're moving towards the spine, but the spine isn't necessarily the goal. Like you're moving in and you're exploring the area, and it is actually in the physical heart. The thing is we really can't feel the physical heart, unless it's achy. You're not really aware of like, oh, that's where the heart is,
Mm.
and so there's a piece of the heart, and I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back and look it up, but the heart seat itself is in the SA node of the heart. It's either the AV node or SA node, but I think I'm pretty sure it's the SA node. And so you know part of the thing about putting your awareness on the heart, it's kind of interesting, and it's a little bit like this with the blue pearl, but even more so with the heart, is you really have to be like soft is not the right word. I've heard somebody describe it like that before in one of my old mystic groups. They would say, oh, you have to be really soft, but I would say more than soft, I would say, and this is what I think they were trying to say, was you have to practice like awareness, like you have to be very observatory, or you have to be in that state of like deep like watchfulness. And so the idea of um You move in a little bit, so you're going into the body, like you're going into the body, and then you're starting to move into the body like in little increments, like little half inch increments. And right off the bat, you're going deeper, but you're not at where you need to be, right? But two things are happening. So one, you are cultivating the type of like watchfulness or observation that is going to be necessary when you finally do hit the seed. So like when you make that little movement and you go, okay, where am I at? And then you go a little bit deeper and you go, okay, now where am I at? Like, you're really having to like look around inside. And that really ties into like intuition, but also the energy of the heart. You're having to practice awareness, but then like really observing the surroundings and how it feels and what's happening and the shift of perception or the shift of consciousness. And so you're making you're making those little movements, and part of it is that you're also cultivating the mind that is necessary so that when you finally do get to that seed, that heart seed or that physical permanent seed, um, you have the mindset to have like your magic moment, like
Mhm.
what you're talking about. And it's going to be very different than the blue pearl, but it's like in the same, like you said, like there's a certain thing that happens. Like the heart has its own version of that, but it's still like it's like, oh yeah, I nailed it.
Mhm.
And so there's that component, but also the other issue is, because you're dealing with an energy center that is about sensitivity, and so you're using mental sensitivity with the forehead, and then you're practicing emotional sensitivity. And as you go in, part of what's happening is there's like layers of, I don't know what you would call it, like protection or like armoring, or however you want to say it. But like you'll go in and then you'll kind of hit a threshold. So like when you start to move in, part of what you're doing is you're going, oh, I'm going to move in a little bit, and then you'll kind of go, okay, that's a good place to stop. You're kind of hitting this threshold of sorts, and it's not like a hard firm threshold, but it's like if I go past this, it's going to get a little uncomfortable, right? And then so you just sit there for a moment, and then that shifts, and then you go a little bit deeper, and then you go, oh, okay, I'm kind of good there. And then, if you kept going, you could do it, but it would be uncomfortable. And so you kind of get right to the point where it's like, it's starting to feel a little something, and you sit with it, and then that shifts. And then you can go a little bit deeper, and then it shifts. And so in theory, I mean, it's hard to like map this out, but in theory, you could say that there's like 99 little movements to that seed. Now, when we do it, we're not going to make all 99, but you know, after we practice this for a while, I will be doing mantras that are associated with each of the little layers.
Mm.
And but I want us to practice it for first, because if I do the mantras, it'll feel nice, but we won't really benefit a whole lot from it. But like if you've been doing this practice, those mantras do something. And so the idea is you're by going through and doing that process, part of it is, yes, you're trying to hit the seed, but part of it is also the journey to the seed. Like you pick up a lot of treasure on the way. Like if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Like you just pick up like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna stick these in my pocket. And you kind of keep going a little deeper. And as you make your way, it is developing and strengthening the heart in a way of just trying to activate it doesn't. Because it has to do with all kinds of things. Sometimes it's compassion, sometimes it's mercy, sometimes it's like breaking down boundaries, but like in a um, like a positive way. There's like protective qualities to it. There's like all these little nuanced things that are in the heart, and we all operate on a couple of them. But it would be good if we could access all of them. The more that you access those different pieces, the more the heart becomes more activated, that it becomes, more of this like very dynamic chakra. And so both the front and the back. And so part of it is that little, like taking that hike or doing that inner journey, going towards that seed, towards that cave. You know, in one circle, we did do practices where we went there really fast. And I've even had to do healings on some people just because, like, when you go there fast, um, you can kind of get there, but you usually can't stay there for very long, and it just like a bunch of stuff comes up. And so usually when I have to do healings on people after they've done that practice in other traditions, it's just their lower emotions and their body let go of so much and they didn't prep for it. And so then what happens is, they struggle with their breath, their digestion's off, it's like they get really super congested in this area. And they usually have very poor circulation after that because there's a lot of energy stuck and it starts to throw off the diaphragm and the physiology. And so you just go through and unwind the diaphragm with that. But the idea is those little increments are like building your heart muscles, and they're building your observation muscles, because the thing also is, we're teaching the heart to be more perceptive, but then we're teaching the heart to also be more perceptive and like communicate that with the mind. Like the mind and the heart become a little bit more one by doing that practice. And so those little movements are cultivating a thing called the imagination of the heart. And all that means is that the heart has the ability to perceive things that the mind can't. Like the heart is usually much better at perception than the mind. It basically feeds the mind the information, but when like something new or abstract comes in, even before the ajna can process the new and abstract information, the heart has to perceive it. And so, this idea of imagination, of being able to perceive a potential, or even the ability to perceive like a deity or a teacher, or teachings or an angel, or whatever it is, the more that the heart can perceive it, the more you can bring it into form. And so what you're doing is you're teaching the heart to perceive, and you're just doing it like little movements at a time. Sometimes when I'm doing like long-term psychotherapy on somebody who's, they're working through something, I don't go into the whole process of the heart and everything, but that's the thing. It's always little movements at a time. And, even for healing, when somebody's giving over like a significant trauma or something like that, that's the thing, is like if you can get them to walk in the heart a little bit, some little movements, pretty soon they're their own therapist. Like they kind of just like take over, because they start processing, they start perceiving, they start shifting. And, a lot of times uh, they work through things at a rate that healing couldn't even touch, you know. And so that's kind of the goal, because like deeper, what you're also potentially addressing is, as your karma or your karmic imagery kind of arises in the mind or in the body or in the emotions or in your environment, that the more that the heart can perceive those things, the greater potential or tendency you have to be able to ease your suffering. I mean, bottom line, it's just like a way to help resolve whatever it is. So we're looking at it like sometimes like for our practice or our meditation, and then it starts to be about healing and how we interact with other people. But like even deeper, it's that ability to break out of those those patterns, because that heart seed is associated with destiny. So the imagery of like things that are going to lay out in your life, you can access it through that heart seed. And so if you start to see like, oh, there's like a negative thing there, you just start putting remedies in place to diminish that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I'll
So
just.
I would say explore all of like what you just said. Like,
Mhm.
there's all different pieces, but there's even something to be said to be have your awareness even out here. Like,
Mhm.
it's not that inward movement, but still feeling like anything associated with the heart, like exploring that idea,
Mhm.
only makes the heart like greater.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. And but when we're moving in towards the body,
Mhm.
we're still not really we're still not really being aware of the physical body, right? It's just the
You're
energetic.
going into the body and you're really I mean, if you can, it's just you're going into areas where you're not going to have a lot of sensory information coming in. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's why, like, as you move the little movements, you're in area where there's some sensory nerves there, but really you're having to go beyond the senses
Yeah.
because your body doesn't have, it's like in your gut. Somebody could take a scalpel to your liver and your, large intestine, you wouldn't feel a thing. Like you don't have those kinds of nerves there. And so even as you're going in here, you don't have the sensory nerves, and so as you're doing that, like you're really having to go beyond your senses, like, oh, how does that feel? But not my body. How does that feel in my perception? Or how does
Right.
that feel in my consciousness? And so you're manually making that part of the heart and the brain like process those things. It's like weightlifting for the heart.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. I'll
You're
just
so
keep
welcome.
on doing it.
And then go ahead, Kathy, then Molly.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi there. Hadn't seen
Hey,
you guys in a little bit.
yeah, how you doing?
Good, good, good. I'm kind of calling on behalf of Anne Owens. She
Mhm.
just had a bunch of dental surgery,
Okay. Okay.
and so she was really tired. And so I'm looking for a sequence of fortification for her
Okay.
using the oils. That would be so helpful to her. She's
And just for recovery from the dental procedure?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. And what kind of what kind of oils does she have? Do we know?
Pardon me? What
No,
kind of
she has a lot.
oils?
Okay, yeah, yeah. Samantha just told me she has a decent amount. So,
And I've got
um,
what she doesn't have.
oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Um, so how long ago did the surgery happen?
Last week, they
Okay,
got in there and well, last 2 weeks actually. And they would take like two a day at first because blood pressure issues.
sure.
But then they got, they got them. So,
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember this now. Yeah. Um, I would have her take in myrrh internally and then myrrh as a like a mouth swish or gargle, however you want to say it.
okay.
Like she doesn't have to really gargle in the throat, but just like, like move it around in the mouth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. She could even put it on the gums if she wants. I would do that, and she's real tired.
Absolutely. She had COVID prior to that, I think about a month before. And she's got a lot of stress with a really big art project and
Okay.
contract. So
Yeah.
a lot of creative energies being pulled for these projects.
I mean, if you have black cumin or she has black cumin, I would have her take black cumin as well.
Okay.
Um, definitely like if she had galbanum or you have galbanum. I mean, the
Okay.
myrrh kind of hits that area as well, but galbanum on the wrist would be good.
Okay.
But I would like to do something to like pump up her energy levels.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
The other part of Anne is she's always doing a lot of healing work at
Mhm.
the sanctuary.
Mhm.
So I was thinking maybe a little bit of not so much protection, but not having so much of the drain because
Sure.
she's wearing out.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. Yeah. Um, boy, even for energy levels, like the myrrh still might be the ticket. And the reason being that it's not like an energy booster how like cinnamon would be or thyme would be,
Right,
but
right.
it's like very fortifying. Like it's fortifying to the nerves, it's fortifying to the body, it's fortifying to the energy body. But if we wanted to augment that, um, we could use like soft forms of thyme, but like, my first choice would probably be Ravensara. I would use Ravensara, and then another one which you might have is adrenal support, which has a
Do.
bunch of Ravensara in it.
Yes, I got
Yeah.
that.
So like I would use that. Like, she could just inhale it a bunch, or she could take a few drops of that daily.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, the reason like did I say allergy support? I meant adrenal
That's
support.
what you said. You said a dream.
Adrenal support. Right.
mhm.
So adrenal support is boy, it's Ravensara, thyme linalool. I want to say it's like rosemary or something else. Like it's another oil that's fortifying. Ravensara. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, basil. So all of that's real good. It's a lot of Ravensara, thyme linalool, and basil, and then like just a tiny, 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 tiny amount of oregano. And so it helps to regulate the adrenals, but it fortifies the adrenals. So it helps to fortify energy levels in the body, makes them a little bit less reactive. And it's like what I use to raise energy levels in people that like have had like a traumatic event, like a whiplash or something,
Right.
because like after about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, they'll start getting fatigued and they don't start feeling, their body's not feeling good, but energy levels keep going down, not up, even with good
Mhm.
rest. And so one of the things that I do is I use like that adrenal support or Ravensara by itself, a soft form of thyme by itself. You could use basil, but it probably would be more Ravensara and thyme.
Mhm. I wonder too, because it was such an intensive amount of surgery that her jaws or and her neck and her shoulder muscles are all sore.
Oh, I bet that's a big thing. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you definitely could treat, I mean, the myrrh should help like relax some of that, but if you
Yes.
wanted to treat something topical like spikenard or vetiver,
Mhm.
does she have blood sugar issues?
I don't know.
If she doesn't, you know what I might do? Like I'd still do all the things that we talked about, but I would, this is like kind of pushing an envelope a little bit, but you could probably find some of this at a health food store, but like if you go to like a local like farmer's market or something, you'll find like the beekeepers where you can get like the fresh honey and then like royal jelly. If
Yeah,
not, you can get the two like from the health food store. But like it'd be better if she could get it fresh. But if you
I can
can't
do
get
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'd have her take a pretty decent amount. Like if you get it fresh, mix like 2 or 3 parts honey with just 1 part of royal jelly. Like don't take the royal jelly by itself. It is would be hard to keep down and it doesn't taste very good. But
Okay.
like when you mix it with the honey, that combination,
Hmm.
mm, uh it can work miracles. Like it just, man, it will make somebody's energy levels go up, especially when you're in like a really worn down state.
Right,
And the
right.
thing that I used to put it in is like either like rice milk or goat's milk or something. But if she drinks just regular milk, you could put it in regular milk,
Uh-huh.
like just really stir it up and then have her drink the milk and the honey and royal jelly. And within a couple of days, she'll be a different person.
Oh, sweet. That would
Yeah,
that
yeah.
will be wonderful.
You know what, that thing of like the land of milk and honey,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
there's something to that.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that. And you throw royal jelly is a thing. The honey will help the energy levels somewhat, but the royal jelly is very, very fortifying. And you know how we talk about the health rays, it really opens up the health rays. And so royal jelly is considered like a cure-all for a lot of different conditions. Like, one person will say arthritis, the next person will say my
Hmm.
back, and then the next person will say, oh, I had a kidney issue. And, everybody has all these like weird different things that don't seem like they like are correlated anyway. But the reason why it works so much is it gives energy to the body and it opens up the health rays. And then the body can absorb healthy energy. It can kick off the diseased energy or the just the stagnant energy. And so I would try that with her.
Sounds
I
wonderful.
would totally try that with her. Yeah.
So another uh person that in my life that's dealing with some health issues, she had the lobular cancer. She's doing quite well with that, but she's having a lot of weight loss. And that could be some side effect from the previous treatment, although there's no cancer detected now.
How long ago did she stop chemo?
Um, it mm, it might not have been but a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the thing with cancer, most times people die from not from the cancer, but they die from malnutrition.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I'm
and
concerned about.
yeah,
Exactly.
and I mean, almost every cancer patient I've ever treated, it's like we
Mm.
always have the talk, like you got to get calories in your body. You got to,
Yep.
you're gonna have times where you don't feel like eating for days at a time, and you have to like force down crackers and 7 Up or a smoothie or something. Eat ice cream every day, whatever it is, but you got to get calories.
Yeah.
And so, I'd find a way, like you want to rehab the gut, because like that treatment and everything, definitely the gut is like a stress plagued, you know, area. Like it gets hit pretty hard. So, any of the things that we know, like the ANS support, rosemary, tarragon, anise, marjoram, any of those things for the gut, ginger, um, I mean, those are good places to start. Any of that would be super good for the gut, just to
Okay.
kind of deal with the stress and help just get the juices flowing again. But I'd also go back to the idea of, finding a way for her to easily get calories. And, smoothie, even the milk and honey thing, like it could be a thing for her,
Mhm.
like anything where you can just get a decent amount of calories in, because even after the chemo stops, like it doesn't just like the gut just doesn't go, okay, whoa, that was a rough week last week. We're done. It keeps going and going and going.
Right.
And some of it is, they stop absorbing nutrients, and part of it is the production of blood cells and things like that. All of that diminishes because they're not able to properly process and get the nutrients out of the food that they're getting. And so their body just kind of goes in a shutdown mode.
Right.
And so you kind of do those things where you just try to jumpstart all of that and help the body get going. And so I'd start with that and some calories, like just get some calories in her. Like,
Mhm.
I was like, if you want, you know, even just liquid calories. Like if you just want to drink a bunch of soda or something, you just needs calories. Like
Yeah.
like it would be great that it was, organic food and this and that. And but at this point it's just like get calories in her however you can get it. And,
Right.
I mean, that's the whole idea. Like, when we were little kids and you get sick and they'd give you crackers and 7-Up.
Mhm.
It's not that those things did anything magical for you. It's just that you were in a period where you weren't eating, you couldn't really process very much, you weren't getting calories. So, sugar and fat. You got sugar and fat, like,
Right.
in the
Yeah.
crackers and the 7-Up. And that gave energy to the body that then helped. If you want to try to jumpstart like energy production in our body, and the production of like ATP, and just the body's processes, is use like from the health food store, get like coenzyme Q10, or it's more as like a type that's more easily assimilated,
Yes.
is ubiquinol, and they're usually right side by side.
Mhm.
And it's that
I've
one's
seen
with a
that.
U. Yeah, give her
Mhm.
like three gel caps like at a time, even a couple of times a day, just like jumpstart her body.
Mhm.
And it's a good way without being overstimulating to anything. But that's common in some like naturopath circles and things like that, where one of the things that they'll give them is like that ubiquinol or coenzyme Q10, and it's just so the body keeps like energy production up.
Mhm.
And so I think that's a great way to kind of to handle that.
Her gut is definitely messed up,
Yeah.
and she has had an ostomy.
Okay.
So she's also having some cramping.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
The ginger would probably help. You could use clove. The clove is probably an even better antispasmodic, but
Hmm.
it might be a little too much right off the bat. So
Right.
I'd start softer with those other things, and
Okay.
then eventually you go a little bit deeper, a little bit harder.
Mhm.
But uh yeah. And keep me posted. I'm glad to help you through that process. But
Thank you. Thank
if
you.
if you if you get that rolling, that should help them. And even that milk and the honey and royal jelly. I mean, any of those situations when you start to improve energy levels, it's
Right.
amazing what the body will just start doing. It's
Yes.
amazing. And so, a lot of times you would use like an oil or an herb to try to stimulate the body's processes. But here, even if you stimulate a body's processes, it still doesn't have the fuel that it needs. So you really, if you just give the fuel, the rest will probably fall into place.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
so welcome, but keep me posted.
Will do. Will
Okay.
do.
And
Thank
in
you.
the chat for the ones like the anise, the ginger, I wrote a few drops internal.
Yeah,
Is
2
that,
to 3 drops internally. Yeah, yeah,
I wasn't sure if that was too much for
yeah,
what it
yeah,
says.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you. I forgot to say that.
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Ralph.
Hey, Lolly.
Hey,
Hee hee.
so let's see, so many things. Okay, let's start with the follow-up from last week, my bug bite. So ridiculous. It's kind of almost okay.
Okay.
So I've been taking myrrh twice a day. It's been great. Like it seems that it's working really well. The weird thing is that like there's still a tiny bit of itching, and it feels like the swelling went down.
Mhm.
Oh, but it looks and it also feels like a bruise. Like I touch
Yeah.
it, it's like it's
Yeah, yeah.
painful.
And sometimes there'll be like a little knot, like if you poke on the area, there'll be like a little knot that's in
And
there.
in the
I would
other ones I had,
still,
this one, yeah.
yeah, I would at that phase, I mean, I'd probably still use a little lavender on it or chamomile, but I'd also probably start rotating or even change over to helichrysum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that because I've been doing orange healer as well. But yeah, I'll switch to the helichrysum. Is there
Yeah,
anything else?
you wanna like open up helichrysum is the best thing for opening up the layers of the tissue and to break up the like if there's any little clots or something in there, which we get them all with all kinds of wounds and little swellings.
Mhm.
It just makes the body reassimilate that. And so yeah, but boy, you had a tough time with those bug bites.
This is so weird. And I'm like, and this one was like, it wasn't even that big. I
Yeah.
really don't understand why
Yeah.
it's so,
I think last time we talked about like working that catabolic and anabolic states.
which,
Yeah,
yes, I
like
did
I
that.
keep working that because I mean that's usually an
Yeah.
indicator like when your body's not healing with something like that. Not that it should be simple, but you should have responded. Your body should have responded a bit better to that treatment. And so that
Right.
just means your body's in a little bit more of a degenerative state. But
Mm-hmm.
given the history that you have with an accident and all that, it's not surprising. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it was just let's just treat it.
Yeah. And so yes, I'll be doing the anabolic state. I'll be doing the stack for that. Also be doing some of the the lemongrass. And the myrrh, should I keep taking it internally for now?
Um, May I look something up for a second? I think you're good.
Okay. So you're done. Okay.
Sorry that took me so long, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. I think you're good. Like I don't know how much black cumin you were taking, but I'd probably stay on black cumin for a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I've been doing once or twice a day. I'm just
How
ordering
much?
the complex.
How much are you taking?
I guess a couple of drops. I have like a dropper for those. So like I guess a couple of drops. Yeah.
Couple drops of
Yeah.
the tincture or the oil?
No, the oil. I can order the tincture if it's not better.
Let's have you do 6 drops 3 times a day.
From the oil.
Yeah, from the oil.
And then that's if it's even if it's the complex.
Yeah, either way.
Okay, is it better? I need to place an order anyway. Is it better for me to use the tincture, the spaghetti tincture?
Not necessarily. I would probably just get another bottle of the black cumin, like in a 10 ml. It's not very much, and it's like 10 mils. Like it
Yeah.
you'll going 6 drops 3 times a day, you'll probably only do it for like a couple of weeks, but
Okay.
that'll still last you a while.
Mhm.
But you'll go through it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. It's already in my
Um,
cart, so okay.
today I don't even want to say how many drops of that I took, but I feel better.
Okay, good. So I'll do that.
It's like how like sometimes just like it wasn't my normal spots, but you just like fill up and like God, my body just feels weird. And I took a bunch of black cumin, it was done,
Hmm.
you know.
Okay.
And so
So either the black
because
cumin or the
even
black seed
when you're
complex.
processing energy or things from meditation, sometimes it makes your body shift or things are coming out or makes your body hurt a little bit, usually not right then, but like a couple of
Hmm.
days later.
Yeah.
And so, it's always good to be able to treat it. And black cumin, you can kind of go kind of heavy on, and it will, soothe the body in a lot of ways. And it's pretty gentle, it's
Yeah.
real super, super, super gentle. And so that's why, like in the Muslim tradition, they say in that practice, they'll say black seed or black cumin cures everything but death.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
it's just like, pretty much anything you got going on
Hmm.
some level is inflammation, some way,
Hmm.
somehow,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And so, if you just get good at treating inflammation, you really can resolve a lot of things in the body. In the
Hmm.
old days, in ancient times, they would say, like, in the Egyptian tradition, for example, there would be people who were great healers, but they also did uh, like skin and beauty or something like that. And you would think like, oh, okay, that two seems like two different things. The skin and beauty part was their ability to fight inflammation. Because it was about the aging process. If you could treat inflammation really well, you actually slow down the aging process. And the reflection of it is, better skin, better hair, more plump, tissue in the face, whatever that might be. And so the idea is getting really, really, really good at treating inflammation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. And yeah, and then basically there's no difference between the black seed complex that has a few different things and the black cumin by itself.
Black seed complex, if I remember right, has turmeric, frankincense,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
black cumin.
black. Yeah, it has yeah. So no, but they're both anti-inflammatory.
Yeah,
So
so same.
I
Okay.
mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you're going
And
big like that, I'd go. Go bigger with the black cumin. The issue being that sometimes if you take bigger dosages with turmeric, you'll lose the sense of taste in your mouth.
oh,
So yeah, so I would say just go heavier with the black cumin by itself.
okay.
Like
Um,
sometimes in the Indian tradition, like if people starts to like get like a sore throat, they'll pull out a piece of turmeric and chew on it. But if you do that too long, or if you take big dosages of capsules or tinctures or something, I mean, it doesn't hurt you, but you will not have taste in your mouth for a while,
okay, so
like
yeah.
like months.
Oh wow.
It
Okay.
will last a while. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So note to self. Okay, thank you. And the tincture is just black cumin, like the spagyric tincture, right?
Yeah, it's got a bunch of black cumin in it, and then it's the black uh, cumin extract, and it's at a 2-to-1 extract, which most things on the market are, if they're strong, they're usually 4-to-1, but most
Hmm.
times, like we just got a tincture like to try something out, and it was like 8-to-1. Like it
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
almost like a water tincture. It was like
Hmm.
it's so weak. And it was, from some super reputable company, but like if you
Yeah.
do a deep dive, it's 8-to-1.
Yeah.
So the potency is, a dropper full usually does a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think I'll stick to the oil and then I can always
Yeah,
just move to the tincture. Okay.
yeah.
And then as far as pains, I don't know what's happening with my shoulder. Like I have pain in my right shoulder. My bad shoulder is the left, but the last couple of days, the right shoulder and it's more towards like the front of the shoulder, so not the back.
Like up in
I don't
here?
know if, yeah, a little bit
Okay.
more outwards, but yeah. And I don't know if I moved it, I stepped on it weird, or I moved it weird. It doesn't seem like energy that's stuck, but, and I already did marjoram and cypress, arnica, what else? Pain soothe, I treated above the elbow.
Is that shoulder rolling forward a little bit?
Not sure. Maybe a tiny bit, but barely noticeable. I'm not sure.
So there's like a deep muscle referred to as the pectoralis minor. And it's very common post car accident. I know your car accident's been a while, but I suspect you have a little bit of low grade something there. And over a period of time, so it's this like little finger muscle that comes from here and goes like forward and kind of attaches like in this area somewhat. But it's associated with elevating the ribs and respiration, you know, when you breathe, and you know, some shoulder function and things like that. Raising your arm up above your head, like kind of like, you know, like that, but you go farther and then you rotate it would be hard to show you how to do it, but
Mm,
the that's a way to test it. um but I'd say let's just treat it as if. And because like when I look at your shoulder, that muscle is way more wound up than everything else. And
Also,
so
I've been moving it potentially a little bit different because I've been driving on a new car and I feel like my body is kind of adjusting. So I don't know
sure,
if that
yeah,
also, I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
no,
wrong.
any sort of thing with holding the arm up, holding it fixated, being on a mouse, like any of that would be
Yeah,
related to it.
okay.
Um, uh, I kind of like the idea of terebinth, but if you don't have terebinth,
I have Terabin.
okay, like I'd rotate between terebinth and lovage, and I'd put it all in this area, and all that's doing, that's not really like, we're not looking at it from the point of view of like a spasm or pain. We want to clean up that tissue. And I think like 3 or 4 treatments of I would do it neat, like I do lovage or
I
terebinth and that
don't.
very neat.
So I do have Terabin. I don't have
And
Lovage.
okay, we'll do terebinth. And so rub it even up on the shoulder, and you know, just really rub it all in there like 3 or 4 times, and then go back to something that's pain relieving or antispasmodic. You know, marjoram, pain soothe, you know, nerve help, you know, any of those things that you're trying, like try it after that, but treat it with a terebinth like a good 4 or 5 times. And then,
So,
you know, because like a lot of times, like those things it'll get like locked up and it's not really firing like it should. And it's you know, it's not relaxing and contracting. And so there's like a lot of lymph and uh like lactic acid and things in that area
mhm.
in the muscle. And so you want to detox that tissue so that muscle can open up and kind of relax. And then it starts to respond to other kinds of treatment after that. But, you know, I think we just need to go through and clean that shoulder up a little bit.
So do that. So 4 times, like one after the other, or just do
No,
it
I'd say like
going,
morning, night, like
oh,
do
and then on the
like 2
after,
days. Yeah.
and
Like
then
give
just
it some.
after that.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there anything
Yeah.
I can stop? And I do have lactic acid. I actually do have have that,
No,
but
still do the terebinth
still do
first.
the terebinth.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything,
You're wanting to clean something up that's more than just lactic acid, and so the terebinth is pretty good for that. Like lovage
And-
will also work, but yeah.
anything to substitute lovage or?
No, I would just do the terebinth. Like it would work with what you got. Like I don't know that that was going to add a ton other than just rotating something, but
Okay,
you know, terebinth should be enough.
okay. And
Yeah.
anything internally for, or just the black
The
cumin?
black cumin should also help. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then she
Because
does,
you're doing a much bigger dosage of the black cumin,
yeah,
and so it will do more than just what you've been doing. Like it will have
Okay.
a bigger impact on the body. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because I wasn't sure what was, and I'm like, this is weird, and I usually don't get that, and I wasn't sure if it's a trigger point or what, and okay, so I'll do that.
Mm.
I even did the marjoram and the cypress because I was like, okay, maybe the lymph nodes need to be, but that didn't. Again, that didn't do anything.
Mm.
Still galbanum, should I still take that internally?
Yeah, I would still keep up. I mean, that's just good every day. So,
Okay, because I kind of went off that when I did the
yeah,
marjoram.
I would still do that. I mean, I don't think it's going to resolve any of the stuff that you're talking
Yeah.
about, but it can help. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So I'll do that. And then, and you think what, like a few days and it should be better, the shoulder?
Hard to say. It depends on how badly it's been injured, but you should start to feel something happening there.
Okay.
After a couple of days and then treatment with the other stuff, it should start to unwind.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
And if not, that also tells us something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one I actually started taking internally is cinnamon, which I actually never done before, and it actually feels good. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm processing things, like I'm kind of letting go of things in a better way, like I'm handling
Oh, good.
things
Yeah.
better. Like it,
Yeah.
like because like you said, it makes you more thick-skinned.
Yeah.
It kind
Oh,
of
yeah. Big time.
I'm better at saying no to things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Very good. Good for you.
so I think I can probably just keep doing that if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah. Cinnamon's, there was this, medical aromatherapy. There's, especially in France, but also sometimes England and stuff. But a lot of the high-end medical aromatherapists are also physicians. And there was this one physician that was quoted as saying, this is many, many years ago. He said, if the world knew how therapeutic cinnamon was, you wouldn't be able to get it, because everybody would gobble it up. But it's it's a general stimulant. It's good for digestion. It's good for energy levels. It's good for circulation. It's incredible for the immune system. Like, it does so many things that, that's one of those ones. It's like galbanum. You could take that the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know.
And same thing if I decide
Yeah.
to substitute it with the cassia.
Yeah, cassia and cinnamon are so closely related.
Yeah,
that
yeah. I always kind
they're
of
kind
okay.
of twins.
Yeah. So okay, so I'm right on that. Now the other thing that's been weird and coming up is I don't know why, like I find myself not, it's not really, well, it is like it's not that I don't remember things, but it's a little bit of that. Like little things I'm like, wait, like I catch myself and I'm like, do I need to work on that some more? Like I've been a little bit under stress. I don't know if that's the reason. Or
some of it's astrological. There's
okay.
just times that for everybody, people kind of go through these like cycles or shifts. And we have our own personal astrology, but then there's also kind of a world astrology. And so like when there's things that are happening and things that are shifting, sometimes it's the activity of the sun, it could be all kinds of things. But most likely it's a astrological thing. Still doesn't mean like tune things up, but like the way, usually I'd say, hey, hit the rosemary or hit basil or something.
Which
I'd say for something like this, things that reduce agitation in the body and then also are stimulating to like cognitive functions. So I'd say like things like lotus and and ginger lily and, things like that. In any way, any form, it could be, any of the lotuses or ginger lily. Another thing, I haven't used it quite for that, but we were just having that discussion earlier today about using even like St. John's wort, because it's a blood purifier. It stimulates the production of uh, serotonin, and then it cleans up the things in the mental body. It cleans up emotion too, but it really cleans up the mental body probably better than anything. And even like we were doing an experiment where we were using lotus and St. John's wort and like some larch and and there's this other, what's it called, malungu something. So it's a tincture. It's this thing that you use for intuition processes. And so we were making a concoction of it and then playing with it. And like on paper, you'd go, oh, this is going to send me out into outer space. It's all, really heady things. But like you do it, and it's like all of a sudden you just get really super clear. Like the mind, it's like it almost like I don't know, how would you describe it? Like the mind calmed down, and I don't know that my mind was agitated, but when I took it, all of a sudden my mind got clear. I was like, Bleh. Like I wouldn't say agitation, I would say overstimulation. And it wasn't personal. Like it wasn't like things going on in my life right now. There's nothing overstimulating. I got a bunch of work, but it's all stuff that I do all the time. So it's not like I got to do this thing that I've done 500 times in the last year. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like,
Mhm.
but things go on in not just society, but in the world and cycles of the world. And it's a weird time.
Yeah. So
You
yes,
know?
I was wondering if it's really like, oh, do I need to
Yeah.
add? And I do basil not regularly. I try to do rosemary inhalations every day, but I was
Yeah,
wondering if I,
it's I'm
yeah,
finding like it's been going on for a couple of weeks that
yeah,
that I've noticed in people. The normal things don't touch it, like rosemary,
yeah.
all things like that. Like you got to
So,
go to like the St.
so I,
John's wort or the
so
lotus
maybe
or
so
even
that's
larch. Even larch is pretty solid in that area.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do have large. So I've been doing the tincture for Blue Lotus, which actually almost
yeah,
running out
that's
of.
perfect. Yeah,
And
yeah,
the other one I've been using, which I'm still like, but there's something about it I really like, is the vibration,
yeah.
which is which is
That's
the
white and
pink and
pink flower.
white. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I'm actually wondering about, because this one I find myself like, oh, this is like, I don't know, it kind of there's something about it that's really pleasant, I guess. That would be the
Mhm.
so would you do like would you alternate them? Is there a specific time that it's better to take? Like would you take the vibration
The blue
at
lotus is going
night
to
or
hit your cognitive functions a lot greater. The vibration, which is white lotus and pink lotus, is
mm-hmm,
going to affect the state of the body and the heart seat or the physical permanence.
mm-hmm,
So even though they're all lotuses, they do very different things.
right.
And so I you could go back and forth, or you could take them. I mean, don't mix them in the same cup, otherwise I would have done
No.
that already. But like take one tincture, give yourself 5-10 minutes, and then you take the other one.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay. But then do that like once, twice a
yeah.
day type of thing.
Mhm. Sure.
Okay. So then kind of stay on that instead of trying the St. John's wort for now.
I would try whatever is working for you. Like the thing
Okay.
that I like about the St. John's wort is it's purifying the blood, physically purifying the blood, and then it does clean up like mental debris. And so if you find that the other ones aren't working, then I would step up and use the St. John's wort.
And
And
that's
then
yeah, that's
inhale larch as well. Like, throw
mm-hmm.
larch in the mix.
And for the St. John's wort, either doing the oil or the tincture.
Yeah. Either way.
Okay, because you're pretty much, the tincture is gonna be just more powerful, basically.
You know, it depends on how much you take of each one. You know,
Okay.
yeah. So I'd say either way.
Okay, okay. And just one more thing, the communication support. We talked about it a lot in one of the recent classes. Maybe the relationship. I honestly I can't remember the relationship or the other one that weekend. So I have that. I have a small size of that, and I'm kind of wondering if that's something that, because I find myself that I don't know, it's a communication with myself, communication with others. Something is, I don't know, needs some work. And I'm
Mhm.
wondering if that's like, if like even wearing that on the wrists daily, is that something that can,
Wearing it would be okay, but I would do the whole 4 quadrants of the aura. Yeah.
okay, oh, so working with
Yeah.
that like that.
Mm.
Okay, okay, perfect. I'll do that. Okay. Anything else that's like,
No, I just do that consistently. Yeah.
okay, the communication. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, perfect. Thank you so, so
You're
much.
so welcome.
And then on the St. John's wort, someone's wondering, take drops of St. John's wort or breathe it?
For what we're talking about, I'd say take 2 or 3 drops. Now, please keep in mind that if you're on a lot of medication, the St. John's wort is a blood purifier, and it might diminish the effects of medication if you take more than just a couple of drops. You know, if you're a drop or two, like I think you're fine. But if you start doing 2 or 3 drops a couple of times a day, it will it won't cause problems with your medication. Your medication will be drained out of your body quicker, and you might not have the same effect. So if that's the case, if you're on a bunch of medication, um, I would go really light or just inhale.
And just to reiterate, no problem with inhalation, right?
No problem. The only time that there's another problem with St. John's wort, if you put a bunch on the skin and then you go out and get exposed to the sun, it'll cause a little temporary discoloration. And so don't wear it on your body and then go outside in the sun. But yeah.
And then go ahead, Ralph and Barbara.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Greg. First off, thanks for the auric programming stack for regeneration.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
I think that's good stuff.
I think I was talking to you when we talked about it, right?
Well, you either talked to me or read my mind, one of the two.
Right. Yeah. I think it was both.
Yeah.
When you go
yeah.
to bed at night, I'm like, oh.
Okay. You had at one point mentioned when you were going in for body work, you would put an oil on or take an oil internally so that your body didn't react negatively to the treatment.
Mhm.
Which oil was that?
Internally, it's usually spikenard. Spikenard or
Spikenard.
vetiver. Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of relaxes everything. You know, it kind of um, helps improve like the vagal tone. And, you know, I still will put it on topically. Like vagal tone, I might put on or spikenard.
Mhm.
For a while, you know, what I was doing was larch. I just, you know, put a bunch of drops of larch on there.
Mhm.
Mm. But you could even still do like marjoram or you know that one you could kind of rotate it around on. You know,
Okay.
the marjoram will help because it's so antispasmodic. It allowed the work to be deeper. And you know, kind of the same with the spikenard and the vetiver. The larch will just really relax the motor nerves and you know, I don't know, I'm getting like trigger point therapy done from time to time. And
Mhm.
so they apply like a lot of pressure for about 10 to 15 seconds, usually with their elbow. And they start, it's not like a stroke. They just kind of push down and then they kind of wait. And, you know, they go all the way to the point where it starts to spasm and then they just kind of ride that spasm. And so I find that when I do those things, that they are able to go deeper. This is what they tell me. And I usually don't tell them that I've done something, but they say, oh, I can go deeper. And you're like when they push all the way to that spasm, your leg gives the spasm up much faster, you know, so it still might have a spasm,
Mhm.
but like it gets over it much quicker. And so, you're looking at the calming down of the nervous system. The reason why I like to throw larch in there is that larch is one of the few things that relaxes the motor nerve. A lot of things will relax the sensory nerves, or like fight flight, and the autonomic part of the nervous system, and release the like the tension, or the protective mechanisms in the body, like over a joint or something.
Mhm.
Even lavender can do that. Even lavender could be that way. But larch really helps to relax that motor muscle, so that I find that I integrate the work much better, because it's like if I'm shifting my alignment of the body around, there's still going to be a thing where the body starts to go back to the old pattern. And you could say that yes, that's like fascia, and some of that is the nervous system and the sensory nerves, but a good piece of that is motor nerves. And there's not a lot that calms down motor nerves. And in fact, I'm not really aware of a whole lot of things that do that. Larch does it in a way that's very nice. And so I like to wear the larch, even if it's not right before the session. I'll at least put a bunch on the night before, so that when I go in there, like my nervous system is like calming down and kind of prepping for that deeper work.
Okay.
Yeah.
My appointment's Thursday afternoon, so should I start doing some spikenard internal
Yeah, I
now?
would do it for a couple, yeah, do it for a couple days,
And
inhale
then
some
what's
large or something like that. That unconscious blend, which
Mhm.
is in the work programming kit.
Right.
That also has a bunch of larch in it, so that would do it as well. So if you don't have larch, you can go to that, grab that unconscious out of that kit.
Okay. Okay. So basically where larch going into the
Yeah,
appointment.
I would do that. And like, one of the things that I like to do is like I'll breathe the larch like into the spine, but like I'll do it like from the spine, and then I start going, okay, where do I feel that tension on the body? I'll like lay down like on the bed or on the couch and go, okay, where do I feel that tension? And I'll breathe the larch into that area with the idea that the motor nerves in that area are calming down. So it just allows for greater work to be done. So I would try that.
Okay. CoQ10, 3 caps a day.
Mhm.
So how many milligrams in the caps? Because I know you can get CoQ10 at hundreds or 200 or 300.
Yeah, I think I usually, like when I'm having people do a bigger dosage like that, I usually have them go 200 milligrams
Okay.
and then 3 of those. So 600 milligrams.
Okay. All righty. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So that's good for like cancer. It's good for all kinds of things, but it's also incredibly good for the heart. Like incredibly good for the heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
And then go ahead, Barbara, then Kathy.
hey, Barbara, how are you?
Doing pretty well, thanks.
Good, good.
My jaw can open almost all the way finally.
Yay.
Um, this is for a friend who's been struggling with um, menopausal symptoms for a while, and she's feeling a lot of agitation in the body and
Okay.
wondered what she might do with that. She doesn't have a lot of oils other than the human design kit, but she's
Okay.
interested in knowing what you suggest.
What's her age?
Mid-50s?
Okay. I would start her like on Vitex. Like that would be like maybe a couple of drops. She doesn't even have to take it internal. She can just put it on her fingers and then in the temples, but daily. I would do that. And
She's been battling with symptoms for a while, but recently she's body agitations really is what she was complaining about recently.
Body agitation.
Might be emotional too.
Okay, let me look at it for just a second. So the Vitex will help, and is she sweating at night?
Don't know, but I will ask.
Okay,
Possibly. If she is, what would you recommend?
you could probably get away with sage, but don't we have a blend called No Sweat?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a blend called No Sweat that she could also use, but either sage or that. But let's say Vitex right now, and
And the sage is internal? Is it
no, it would be
for
topical.
the
Yeah,
topical?
topical. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say Vitex, and then I'm gonna say like a tincture of yarrow.
Yeah,
I think that would be very calming, soothing, would reduce some inflammation, but it would calm down agitation in the body that other things wouldn't touch.
thank you. And where topically for the sage?
Probably just on a wrist, like,
Okay.
just like 3 or 4
Yeah.
drops and call it good.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Kathy, and then we have some chat questions.
Mhm. Hey, hey.
Let's get you unmuted. Go ahead, Kathy. There we go. Go ahead and unmute yourself at any time. We'll get, whenever, we'll just go into the questions here. So I'm gonna go just to earlier questions this week in email really quick, and it was, I had a couple people asking about the upcoming class, the Healing Spirit, and I told them I'd ask you in the Q&A if I had time.
Yeah, healing spirit is it's how, like we were talking about, the difference between treating symptoms and then treating the state of the body. Like treating symptoms, a lot of times, if the body's in a good place, you go and treat symptoms and your body reacts kind of quickly. But then there's times where, you know, um, your body's in more of a degenerative place or a degenerative state. And even though you go through and you treat what would normally produce a result for some symptom, it's not reacting. And so you're dealing with two different things when you're doing healing. You're dealing with the symptoms, which are the manifestation, but they're the manifestation of the state of the body. Injuries and things like that, they happen, but the body will usually bounce back from them unless they're too bad. But if the body is in a state of degeneration, then no matter what, the body doesn't respond as well, doesn't heal as well, is prone to get sick more, it's prone to get injured more, it tends to have energy level issues, it has, all these different issues. And so we looked at that and began dealing with that in the vibrational state. Like when you look at the aura and the auric program and all those classes that dealt with the aura, there you're looking at the energetic mold or blueprint of the body, the aura. And basically there you're looking at the potential, either the potential for goodness or the potential for, decay or, injury or, whatever it might be. So you're looking at the potential. And if you don't shift that potential, then whatever you do in the body doesn't really hold as well or doesn't happen as quick, right? But once you go into the body, then you're basically looking at, is this a manifestation of just a symptom, which, almost everything you can take back to the state of the body. And it's even how we divide things up in the nervous system, where it's, fight, flight, and rest and repair. Symptoms are a byproduct of the fight flight mechanism. Your body's ability to regenerate and heal those things is an issue associated with the rest and repair mode, which is the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. And so, there's more to it than that, but that's like a simplified way of saying it. And so when you're dealing with physical components, the more that you can shift the state of the body, the faster the body will heal. Like a good example of this is whiplash. Somebody gets injured and 3 or 4 weeks out, they're not feeling better, those things still ache, and they actually even feel a little bit worse. And as much as you chase after the symptoms, the body is still in a degenerative state. Like the body keeps degenerating. So the symptoms not only don't go away, but they actually progress and get worse, and they get worse and they get worse. And so, I had a student who was in the vibrational class, and how I was lecturing and discussing the state of regeneration or the state of degeneration. She had had her whiplash, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And she goes, now I understand my whiplash. Like, it didn't make sense to me. Why wasn't I responding? Why wasn't I getting better? I get healings, I get body work, I get chiropractor, and like I feel better for a little bit, and then I get worse again. And she goes, now with that explanation, she goes, I get it. Like I totally get it. And that's easier to get because something externally happened. You got into an accident. But sometimes with the body, there's this slow roll of things just degenerating over a period of time. And so that whole idea of the vibrational healing is, now we're looking at, we've gone past the potential of the aura, and now we're looking at the body. And because of what's happened in the past, are we in a state of regeneration and degeneration? Now, the manifestation of that in the emotions and in the mind are tied to like esoterically. If we step away from the physiology, because the physiology, it's complex and it's like a long explanation, and it's a good remedy for insomnia, because like me talking about that for a period of time would put you to sleep. So to look at it from the point of view of a mystical approach or an esoteric approach is, we're looking at the aspects of the emotional mental body, but we're looking at it from the point of view of the planets. And we're not working the planetary energies, but we're working the spirits of the planets. And the spirits of the planets are how things manifest. So when we work the planetary energies, part of what we're doing is we're developing the heart, and we're developing and harmonizing the mind. Whenever we work the planets or the alchemical planets, you're working aspects. You could say there's 7 stages or 7 layers of harmonizing the mind. And those 7 layers are tied to the 7 planetary aspects, the classic planetary aspects. Now, with that, the planets also have like an energy with consciousness that helps with the manifestation. I mean, it's why astrology is a thing, like how it influences us, how it influences our environment, how it influences people, is It's not just there's things in the sky that are in these positions and we somehow get impacted. There's a manifestation of an energy with consciousness that is manifest, and depending on how we're wired and how we've prepped ourselves, that's how these things manifest. And so this is very much associated with conditioning that you've either been born with, or and it comes from your genetics, or it's based on the things that happen. And you're basically dealing with a level of how your body responds to stimuli. So it's instinctive responses, automatic behaviors and thinking, but also how the emotions process things and the mind. And we put in the news, was it the newsletter or a flyer, where each of the spirits for the 7 planets impacts, like, Saturn is stress, and another one is trauma. But it's not just that, it's like the state that generates the emotion. It's the state that generates the negativity or is cultivating the positive thing, like a sense of well-being or loving kindness. Some of that is being generated by the body, or the opposite is being generated by the body. So it's basically like vibrational healing, but for the emotions and mind. And the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to go through and relive the things from your past. And I would say, when I'm working those spirits of the planets, there's such a shift in the perception. Like, your perceptions become much more fluid, that you begin to really experience higher consciousness to a much higher degree. You get to experience who you truly are rather than who you are because of what happened to you. And I was doing that practice, like what was that, last night, and I was like, out of everything we've done, if there was a class that was like, this is going to get you closer to enlightenment or something, I was like, this has been the one that would touch that. So many times we're talking about healing, but it shifts your points of perception, which what I notice is I break out of the patterns that I'm like suffering in. Like, it's not like I'm miserable, but I'm like, things that I'm like, oh, I'm still doing this over and over again. And you go, but like, I'll try to do something different. And when I start doing this class, I'm like, no, I'm done. Done. And it's not even like it's this big ordeal. I just start doing different things. And like, I break out of these patterns. So it's like it's a form of like psychotherapy that is not like normal psychotherapy. Like, that is not about targeting a symptom or releasing a past event, or it's just about, I don't want to be in the state of trauma anymore. I don't want to be in the state of stress anymore. I don't want to be in the state of fear anymore. I don't want to be in the state of, I don't know. Like, for me, I was going, like, I don't know, is this self-pity? Is this like, what is this? Feeling sorry for myself because this happened or that happened or it didn't happen. And it's like, I just don't want to be in that state anymore. Like, I don't want to, like, emotions arise from that, thoughts arise from that, behaviors arise from that. And as much as we keep knocking down thoughts and feelings and behaviors and why do I do this and why do I do that and how can I make it different, if we don't change like the state inside, it's just always going to manifest. It's even if we clean it up, the aura, eventually, little by little, it starts to shift it. But if we want an accelerated practice, we go into the state of the body for healing, like we did in the vibrational state. But here we're going into and looking at, like, how are my responses to things? How are my reactions? How are my emotions? How are my thoughts? How do I think? Am I staying stuck in some pattern because I just can't break out of it? Because that's the thing with intellect. Intellect will maintain something even if it's making you miserable. It will maintain it because it doesn't know that the other thing is going to be better, right? So it's always maintaining it. And so as much as you want to break out, there's part of your mind that's like, no, we're going to stay right here. Like, think about it, fantasize about it, but it's not going to happen because the mind goes like, we're staying. This I know. The devil I know, I trust way more than the mystery outside. And that's just I don't know that I call it a fear response of the mind or a stress response of the mind or I don't know. But like I think it's probably more a protective mechanism, but it's not something that really serves us. And it doesn't serve our growth, it doesn't serve our healing, it doesn't serve our evolution. It doesn't serve us when we're wanting better relationships or deeper spiritual practice. But if we have also some really deep chronic health issue, it's not serving that either. Like it's not serving any of that. And so it's a way to take this practice and go deeper, feel more of who you are, make your mind work better, make the emotions. It's very stimulating to the heart seed, this practice. It's very, very stimulating. So all this work that we've been doing with the heart and going deeper, like it's going to magnify that practice quite substantially. We've been practicing that for, I don't know, a few months now. And we're going to just keep building on that for a little bit, So anyway, I'll speak more about it. And I think we're putting a flyer out pretty soon, but you know,
Thank you. And then go ahead, Barbara.
hey,
Thanks. Quick question regarding that
Mhm.
class. When I read through the qualities associated with the different planetary spirits, it seemed to me that some of them were a balance of, from my perspective, positive and not so positive. But the balance seemed very different from planet to planet. Was that my perception? Is that just what you put out there, or is that really the difference among
Say it again.
planets?
It's balancing.
So the list you had of the qualities
Mhm,
related to the planets,
mhm.
some of them seem to have some, from my perspective, positive qualities and not so positive qualities. And others seem to have more challenging qualities. And I wondered if that was just how I was reading the list, if that was
No,
what you put out, or that's actually how it
it
goes planet by planet.
it was like really when I was first making my notes, like I was pulling things out of my notes, I was like, this is why we would treat these areas. Like, so if there's stress, it's like, okay, I'm in a stress state. I'm going to go to this, spirit of this planet. And so a lot of it is like, how do I address the negative component? Right. But then in addressing the negative component, the byproduct is it produces like these positive aspects. And so like let me just find one and we'll okay. So like if I look at the spirits of the sun, so negative things are like fear, self-worth, existential confusion, transference of negativity from others, obsession, compulsion, and even the potential for OCD. But in treating those and in releasing those, greater levels of joy, greater levels of happiness. And like there's still some things that I need to put under each one. So like I would say also greater potential for manifestation. And I would also say uh, like I don't know the right word to say it, but it's almost like wish fulfilling. Like I wish this could happen, or I wish that could happen. Like it would be like, well, if I wish it, like why can't I just do it? It's like that kind of mentality. And so you're diminishing the negative And maybe I need to clarify that on my notes actually when I present it. You're cultivating something and you're diminishing something simultaneously. Like it's
Almost
like, yeah,
two sides of a coin.
right. Like you're tipping the scale from the negative stuff and you're, in fact, I am going to present it like that. I think that's it. Thank you for bringing that up. Um, so you're cultivating the positive, because even like self-worth that's there, I mean, that could be negative self-worth or positive self-worth. So even that could be in the good and the bad, you know what I mean? Depending on how you handle that. And so
Thank you.
yeah,
That's
you're shifting how your body, I mean, bottom line is like how we communicate with the elements, like, you know, going back to the wish fulfilling component, how we communicate with the environment. Like if you have a really strong emotion or repetitive thought, you're communicating with the earth that then brings the elements or the elementals to your mind and emotion to help bring that forth. So if you're angry or upset, you're bringing that forth. If you're thinking of something positive or you're really feeling a lot of love about something, you're also bringing that forth, right? How you communicate that to the elements is through these spirits. Like so it's basically like your messengers. Like whatever you want, you go get it. So you could be pure of heart right now and you think really loving thought, and then you go, okay, you're trying to manifest something, and then you hand it off to the spirit and you go, okay, go give me the building blocks for the elements to bring this forth. Well, if those are very impure, the message is very impure and the outcome is very impure. You know what I mean? So even though you might be like you've shed kind of the past and you're in a place where like, I feel very clear, I feel very loving. And then you put something forth and then you come back and you're like, here we are again. Is it me? Like, what is it? And it's these mechanisms that are how you communicate with the form and bring back the building blocks. And so um, it would have an impact on physical healing, but I would say my experience has been more psychological healing, more emotional, mental, and my like spiritual practice. Like my spiritual practice, man, when I do these practices and then I sit and do meditation, it's just off the charts. But I became more aware, like doing this practice, like how much, like for my back, for example, like, I broke my back and, yeah, this happened, that happened. And over the years, like trying, I was supposed to have a surgery like 35 years ago, and I'm like, still like, man, it's not going to happen. And so, part of that is managing the state of the body and everything, and treating the area and the symptoms. I do all the things that we talk about in the classes. But like working this particular component, I realize how much the emotional and mental struggle or stresses in those old situations, the impact it had on my body. And as I let it go, my body responds even faster than just trying to stimulate those state of regeneration. It's like it's a much deeper version of it. It's wounds aren't always physical. Sometimes those emotional wounds start to settle in the body. And the more that I go through, and it's not even like I recall things, but I will say my perception of myself and my body is much clearer and much to the point, and my ability to perceive things in the environment is much, much deeper because of working with the spirits of the associated with the planets. And even, the first time I, like the first, like rough draft, you could say, of me doing this, like I made the regular spirit and then the alchemical spirit, but I had a realization in even working it that way that like it doesn't have to be two separate things. I can do it all in one shot. I had to use a different primer on like how I would measure to make the blends. And yeah, like this way's even stronger. And I'd say the clairvoyance or the perception of the mind is getting so much clearer and to the point, and like it doesn't have the weird, how you go like, oh, I don't know about this or I don't know about that. It's getting way more one pointed, which is also going to produce greater levels of intuition. And so it really helped the clairvoyance and the perception. Then when I sit and do like work with like a deity or an angel, I see it to a greater degree, so I'm able to pull it into a much greater degree. Like it's like it's the gift that keeps giving.
Looking forward to this class.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
for the
I'm
explanation.
super excited. Honestly, I never in a million years thought I'd be teaching this like in the public. Never in a million years. I mean, even the art program thing, never in a million years. But as we get through this, I almost get giggly. I was like, I can't believe we're teaching this. Oh my God. Like it's anyway. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And then go ahead, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
Hey, sounds like a wonderful class. I kind of got really caught up in hearing about that. I do have one quick other person that I'm concerned about.
Sure, sure. Let's
The
hear.
person has had some chemical wounds. Some of those are on like the nose and thin parts of the arm,
Like a medical procedure or like got
uh,
exposed to something.
like from an accident.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Like a
they've
car
been
accident
dealing with
from
the
the
healing,
airbags or like something splashed on them.
so like something splashed on them.
Okay.
And it's it like on the nose, one of them, and it's perpetually needing well, the skin keeps failing.
How old is this person?
Uh Probably maybe mid to late 60s.
Okay. So I would say there's two things that I would try. One would be helichrysum, one would be myrrh, and it's probably going to be the myrrh that works.
Okay.
But I would still try helichrysum just because it would clean up
Mhm.
the tissue and increase circulation to that area. It will a lot of times stimulate wound healing, but like you said, like when the skin is not binding, and sometimes I use myrrh for that.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is really
How,
thin. I don't know how much there is even to regenerate.
how long ago did this happen?
It's years.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
Well, I thought it like it was a while ago. I don't know that I thought years. Um, I would still try the helichrysum right off the bat, but it's probably going to be the myrrh. Like, and
Okay.
I would just put like couple little dabs of it and then rub it on the area and just see how that does. But it's
Okay.
probably going to be that. And the good thing is if there's pain, both of them will reduce pain. It will kind of clean things up. It will increase circulation, but they don't have any dead tissue in any of it or anything like that. It's just it won't close.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would try.
Okay.
You could also go back to the black cumin internally. That still
Mhm.
might be a thing for them as well, just to treat it from the inside out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get a couple of these other people to you
Yeah.
for training, because they're
Mm.
already deeply committed to spiritual healings as well as physical kinds of healings.
And if they need to reach out, like have them email, and like if they need to, go back and forth with like how to treat it or whatever, like,
Yes.
we can do whatever. I mean, that one, I would say, let's see how they respond. But if it's non-responsive or not responding very quickly,
Mhm.
is we do that thing that we've been kind of talking about, where we kind of treat the state of the body a little bit, and then help put the
Yep.
body in a better place to regenerate. But this is how I would start.
Sure. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And as far as application of those oils, neat?
Yeah, I would
or-
do just like drop and then just kind of pat it on the nose wherever that's at, and yeah.
And then I was also wondering, sorry, different person, but I was also wondering if you could suggest anything for high cholesterol. I think it's genetic and it keeps creeping up.
Yeah. So with cholesterol, you're looking at obviously like liver function and everything. The place to usually start with that is, we have a blend that's cholesterol support, which really it's 2 parts rosemary verbena and 1 part cypress. And so you can, take those, if you have both those oils, you can take it together, or you can get the blend. Helichrysum internally also has a little bit of an effect on cholesterol. And there's an oil called Google, like Guggul. It's a resin, kind of like myrrh, but different. It will also lower cholesterol. But sometimes, even with cholesterol meds or with natural substances, if the cholesterol doesn't go down, then again, we go back to the person's body's in a catabolic state. And so I'd start with that and try to reduce things that way. And then if the body is not responding, like say after 3 months, there hasn't been a big change in the cholesterol, then I would stay on those, but I would start treating the catabolic state. And so, I mean, easiest way to do that is either the trigger point blend or the anabolic state. But I would start with just the cholesterol support right off the bat. I don't like to just throw a bunch of things at something. Like I try to like find like a thing or two to throw at it instead of throwing 15 things at it. And so I don't want the person to get overwhelmed. I want treatment to be easy, you know and so cholesterol support, like 2 or 3 drops, 1 to 2 times a day daily in water. That usually will drop it. That formulation comes from a medical doctor who was also a medical aromatherapist, and he would test his patients, and before and after treatment, and after 90 days there would be a decrease most of the time. It doesn't always work, but it works a lot of times. And so you're basically, instead of treating a symptom, you're getting the liver to start functioning better in some specific areas, that then reduces mm, the cholesterol. It also is kind of good for heart function as well. So
And so, same person, first question.
mhm.
I recently developed floaters in my left eye. I'm wondering if there's anything I can do to clear them. Also, is there anything I can do to improve my vision in general?
The floaters, uh, I mean, sometimes St. John's wort internally might do it. I mean, um, I've tried a couple of different things. I think the only thing I've really been able to do it well with is the healing, just to do healing on it. Um, But to help with the eyesight, you know, there's some oils that kind of are helpful, but I would say if you're trying to improve health, I would get from, like, you can go on Amazon or into your health food store. There's a thing called what's it called? Macu Health, like MACU Health, I think is what it's called. And I'd take like 2 or 3 of those little gel caps a day. And you know, it's got all the things that the eyes need. The oil that I would suggest is anytime that the eye dries out, and the eye breaks down. So one of the ways that you regenerate the eye or try to help the eye is you hydrate it. So you can put saline drops in the eyes, but inside out, you know, treating it from the inside out is you would use Shazandra, um, and 2 or 3 drops in water like daily, most likely at night. That can be helpful.
And those are the questions
Okay.
for them.
So let's go ahead and do let's pull out, let's see. Let's have you pull out hyssop. Okay. So we're going to do a little practice, and this is, you know, we're talking about the Healing the Spirit class in the beginning of October, and there is another class that is tied to the purification of the senses and refining the intuition that's coming at the beginning of November. And so here we're looking at plants as teachers, like they present like a metaphorical image into the mind. So with this, hyssop is associated with remembering. Now, this is not remembering the things that I did today and did I remember the things from last week. This is remembering like who you are or your true nature, like a deeper sense of like knowing yourself or remembering yourself rather than the conditioned self or the part that is how you were raised, or you know, the things that you've done or you've been in these relationships or in this work. There's still a deeper part of you that is associated with, you know, the soul or the Buddha nature. And so it's more about a deeper kind of remembering, right? So pull out your hyssop. If you don't have hyssop, use something hyssop like, you know, like a eucalyptus or. I think we're good. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do, your awareness is on your heart. Your awareness is on your heart, and just start taking some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on your heart. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now let that go for a moment. Your awareness is on the sex chakra where the sex organs are. Start taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. On the sex And then let that go. Your awareness is on the temples. Your awareness is on the temples. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. Let go of the sex chakra. Your awareness is on your temples. Taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your temples. Now just let that go for a moment. Your awareness is on your temples and sex chakra both at the same time. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. And then just pause and be still. Just let it all go. Now, as you're being still, start being aware of your spine. You're not inhaling, just be aware of your spine. Your awareness is on your spine and begin inhaling the hiss up. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths into that area. Okay, and then just let that go. How's that feel? Yeah. Now, you're going to do the left quadrant of your body. So, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder, down the side, the left leg, all the way to the left outer ankle. So, you're working your whole left side of your body. Your awareness is on the front side of your body, your face, throat, chest, abdomen, front of your pelvis, down your legs to the tops of your feet. Your right side of your body, the whole right side of your face and neck, shoulder, down the hip, the outer leg, to the right outer ankle. And then the back side of the body, back of the head and neck, down the whole back and hips, down the back of the legs to the heels. And then just pause. And just being still. Begin inhaling that same oil. Your awareness is on the back heart, the area between your shoulder blades. Does it get worse when your arms up like that? It's okay, it doesn't matter. I'm just curious. Yeah, it's the serratus anterior. It's that one that's over on the. Yeah. You're still inhaling on the back heart. Just be still. You guys, thanks for a great night. And we're going to go to the Star Prayer Petition Blessing. We're going to do a little work with Archangel Raphael the Healer. Join us if you can. And if not, tomorrow night is open to everybody. Yeah, tomorrow night is a study group open to everybody. So we can do that one. And hopefully I see you on the weekend.